Hello and welcome to the interview before the stream. My name is Kristin and I am joined today by Jenny from Yer Mum. Yer Mum is going to be performing next weekend on Red Tie Live. So we like to sit down. We like to get to know you a little bit before you come and play for us. And the first thing we usually like to do is this like pre-show interview thing doesn't have a name. So if you could suggest a name for us, we're trying to, figure it out here.
Red Tie Jive.
Ooh, hey, that's pretty good. Let's start easy here.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your band.
Okay, so Yer Mum started in 2013. I think it was I want to say mid-August. And we were hanging out with a bunch of people in my drummer Travis's backyard. We should start a band. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, we should jam. And what would we call it? Oh, I don't know. And then the one guy who never says anything ever to anybody, he's like, you should call it Yer Mum.
Nice.
Victor, thank you. So we just started jamming, and we had all come from previous bands. You know what? Travis didn't play drums before.
Really?
He had experience with guitar, vocals. I guess I'm learning drums.
Picking up a new skill.
How terrifying. Good job, Travis. And yeah, that's what happened. So since then, we've done an Eastern and a Western tour. We've done a couple EPs, lots of basement shows, out-of-town shows, hotels, dive bars, kind of nice bars. Usually the higher the stage, the more terrifying it is, but that's okay.
I've heard you say that in an interview before, that the higher up you are, the more
oh yeah,
it kind of freaks you out. Is
closer.
That so you would prefer like a house show or a show where something is level?
I like level personally. Yeah. I really do. It's a lot less intimidating, but I like to play anywhere really.
And do you feel like when you're closer to the level with people in front of you, do you feel like you feed off their energy in a different way than if you're sort of up a little bit removed?
Absolutely. I'm already 5'11", so that's a little bit weird for some dynamics. But yeah, I absolutely feel I can make more eye contact with people. And one of my things when I get shit scared on stage, are we allowed to swear in this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fine. When I get scared on stage, I find somebody in the crowd. Usually I like to see who's at the show first, and somebody who I'm really comfortable with. I lock eyes on my I'm just playing the show for you, just for you.
Nice.
And that helps me a lot. Now, I remember when I first started playing, I was like, Mrs. Roboto, and I didn't know what I was doing because I came from a jazz background.
Okay.
And everything was very
structured,
formal in my bow tie,
yeah.
And that wasn't cool. So that transition was really rough. So I met this chick named Robin, and she said, if you don't start moving on stage, I'm gonna fill up a water gun full of piss and spray you. And I was like, oh my God. So then I started moving around a little more, started throwing glitter on people, and it worked.
Okay.
Because thinking about her, I love her and she scares the shit out of me.
Dead serious, I imagine.
Can't go start moving because she's not lying and she carries a big purse. And they don't do purse checks.
So Yer Mum, you guys are a three-piece,
Yes.
and have you always been a three-piece, and then any lineup changes over there, or have you been pretty steady all the way through?
We have always been a three-piece. There was a couple of times where Jimmy was working in the serving industry where we had to pop in another guitar player. It's like, hey, you know what? This is 3 notes. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
can you play short, fast, and hard?
Exactly. Okay, you got it. Great. So we've had to do that a couple of times, but other than that, we've been pretty steady and consistent and whatnot. So
cool.
Yeah.
And I've heard you in other interviews refer to them to the other guys in the band as your band family.
Yes.
So I feel like you guys sound like a really fun family to hang out with. What's the dynamic like when you guys get together just to hang out?
When we just get together to hang out, it's really fun. Usually there's some beer or some food or a backyard or skateboarding off a garage roof. It's fun.
Heard a lot about that. We'll get into that during the live stream.
Yes.
That's some really fun stuff, I think.
In my opinion too, if you can't have a band that's not going to be, if you don't have a band that's not going to be there for you through thick and thin, what do you have? Mm-hmm. I personally am not a fan of when people just feel like they're members are disposable or can be easily changed or whatnot. It's like, no, you built a relationship, and so your first jam to me is like a first date. It's kind of awkward. What do you want to do? but we've built this thing where it's not awkward anymore. When we start writing together, one of us will have something and everybody else adds the kind of bread and butter and crackers, or a little charcuterie board of stuff
Nice.
to make a song. And we have a lot of fun doing that now. So absolutely, we've been there for each other through a lot of good and a lot of bad. And I like that. I like how nothing's perfect. And I like how we can just kind of fly off the seat of our pants and do things. The closest thing we've come to a fight was when we were going to play a song and Jimmy says, "Oh, you're out of tune." I'm like, "No, you're out of tune. Or you're playing this wrong." One of us was totally out of tune. But we solved that quickly. It was
Good. Just a strong disagreement, not a real fight.
No fist fights.
So you play bass and the clarinet.
Okay, so the clarinet thing, I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I popped that in a couple of times in songs. One of our songs, Tony the Tiger,
Okay.
the clarinet makes an appearance. Yeah, so it doesn't come out very much anymore, but Carlos the clarinet, I play tuba outside of Yer Mum, and I would like to get back into that. But yes, and then we've got Travis on drums and Jimmy on guitar, and we all share vocals.
In your like little bio on Facebook, it's like, we like making a racket,
We do.
which I think is a really fun descriptor and one that people don't use often enough. And I was looking at your track listing on one of your EPs, and all the songs were under 2 minutes long, so like quick and dirty, love it. And I was thinking, with some of the song titles, some of them get pretty personal, and I would say, like, if the band had an overriding emotion, would it be fair to say that it's anger?
Yeah, anger, and I also view it as a cathartic experience.
For sure.
And it's cheaper than therapy.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you guys do as a band during like the lost years, aka the pandemic?
So I want to say that a lot of us were able to focus on things outside of our band. So Jimmy was able to focus on a lot of his skateboarding. He's a fantastic skateboarder. He got to focus on a lot of that and a lot of creative projects with skateboards. So like lots of painting decks and yeah, just getting creative with materials. Travis actually, he did a lot of interesting things. He started a podcast, and I guess it was like, in the works for a little bit there. So he does this podcast called Back Alley Beers that you should definitely check out.
Okay.
Shameless plug.
Little plug, very nice. I like how you just slipped it in there.
Travis has always got something on the go in a good way, and that was his thing. As for myself, I did a lot of knitting and longboarding and sewing patches onto coats and video chats. And yeah, I guess we all worked too at some point. That was nice. Yeah.
Okay. I've heard you guys talk about in other interviews about doing mixed genre shows. Like, you don't just play with other bands that sound kind of like you. That's not fair to say. There's no band that sounds like your band. But like, what is that experience like, and how do you kind of start conversations to get more of that stuff going?
Okay, so mixed genre shows to me are a very important thing, just simply because you get people out to a show where they primarily listen to punk rock and they're like, yeah, I'm coming for this band. But then they listen to this rap group or this metal band and they're like, whoa, wow, that is so cool. I didn't expect to like that. That reaction to me is just everything. And I think it's really neat to hear that. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I fucking hated that. That's fine too. You know what? You
but at
realize
least you gave it a shot.
You don't like it, that's fine. So I'm not sure exactly how that started. I'm trying to think. It just kind of turned into a once a year thing with some friends that are in different genres. One of the last ones we did was at the Park Theater, and it was for a skateboarding documentary premiere. And so we had a few different groups that went fantastic. And the environment, the atmosphere, a bunch of people that showed up. The Park Theater also allowed for more people to be in attendance. So it was a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds and opinions and whatnot. So I love when people can discover something new.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to push on you. You want to go stand outside for half an hour while the punk band or the rap group's going, that's fine. But it's nice to give people, a chance to experience a bunch of things under one roof is what I love.
Yeah, and I think that's like become so much more acceptable, and people just understand that like the culture, even the culture of being part of a music scene in the city, it's broader than just one thing, right? And I've always thought of like punk rock and hip hop as kind of like brothers from other mothers, like it's similar struggles. No one would put out their music, so they had to put out their own music, and just there's these great parallels that I think people overlook a lot of the time. So you guys just announced a couple of shows coming up, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we have obviously Red Tie, be there. People will hear about that on our pages once we have everything together for that. We also have my friend Dave's birthday at the Albert. So excited to play there again. Then we have a wedding social.
A wedding social. These aren't even the shows that I was talking about, but this is amazing.
We got the wedding social for our other friends at the Pyramid. Travis's birthday show. Okay, one time he played a birthday show. He put on his birthday show and he played with all 6 of his bands. This guy's a diehard. But this one he's not going to do that, and it'll still be a lot of fun, you guys. That's at Bulldog. And I believe there is DRI and Dayglow on Father's Day. So any of those fathers out there that like to be hip and with it, you should probably get a ticket. Or get your kid to buy you a ticket, because that's a nice gift.
All right.
Yeah.
Good plug. Another good plug. And the one at the Albert, is that the Halloween in April?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. I just had to sit there and think for a minute. I'm like, yeah, Halloween in April. Our friends are in a band called the Psycho 78s. It's going to be a lot of fun. They put on a great show, and they're really good at doing makeup. So I may need to ask them for some pointers.
Okay, awesome. And is it all Misfits covers?
I believe so.
Okay, awesome. We should check that out.
I don't even know.
You can find this stuff on their Instagram, by the way. Yes. All right, Jenny, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really looking forward to hearing your band next week.
Thank you.
I hope you will join us as well. We'll see you on Saturday, March 26th on the Red Tie Live Facebook page, streaming everywhere, 4 p.m.